All right, let's get this show on the road. Let's unmute it in the Discord and let's get it cracking. What's up, people? It is your boy MM2K back again with another episode of the Prognosis. Damn, this is the second one this week. I only plan to do these once a week, and I didn't want to do a lyrics to go, which was a video-less piece of content where it's just mainly my audio and a thumbnail of the show logo. I actually wanted to just provide some video and do something a little different. We got the Discord live and ready to go for those of you that want to join us live that are not members of the Patreon. We're going to give you this special treat. However, if you want access to this after the fact, you're going to have to join the Patreon. Join at the tier 2 level. It's just $4.99. It gives you access to all the great content that we have. Not only are we going to have shows like this every week, but we're going to have some fantastic looking 4K streams. I already got one baking in the oven. Don't know if I'm going to release it this week or wait till next week. It's all about how well YouTube has processed the video so far. Sometimes with a lot of these 4K videos that I create, it takes them a week to process them because, you know, I'm putting a lot of fidelity and there's a lot of bit rate happening there. So we'll see. That being said, again, want to welcome you to our special video, which is the good, the bad, and the fugly on the Insomniac leaks. Man, this is some crazy stuff. For sure. And there's some good stuff behind this. There's some bad stuff behind this. And boy, is there some effing ugly stuff behind this. Now, the reason why I was a little late is because there's like one little small detail that appears to still be being hashed out about this. And just so you guys know, there's not going to be any spoilers here. Like, I'm not going to spoil what the Wolverine game looks like. I am going to be talking about the roadmap, though. So I'll give you a fair enough warning when I'm talking about the roadmap. And if you want to leave while I'm talking about the roadmap, as a matter of fact, let me do this for the people that are watching on the video. Let me put up this. I'll put up spoiler alert. Hold on. I can find the damn program. It'll load up. There we go. All right. So what I'll do is I'll do something like this where we got that, we got that, we got this. And let's do this. All right. So we got that. Oh, I got to fix that. Come on. There you go. There you go. I knew you could do it. Okay. And then I'm going to open this. Why don't I do this right now? I can do this right now. Let's see here. Spoiler alert. How do I want to do this? I'll edit this last one. This last pane right here. But spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Roadmap. So in case you don't want to see the roadmap, here's what you will see. That'll pop up on the screen. Spoiler alert, roadmap. So let me fix that. Spoiler alert, roadmap. So in case you guys don't want to see that roadmap, you can just like get out. You know what I mean? All right, so here's what's going on. Shout out to Cold Blood. We got Cold Blood in the Discord. If you want to join him and listen in, go ahead, join my homie. And again, you can check out me and Cold Blood on Fridays here. I mean, not here, but on the GEiX channel. That's twitch.tv/GEiX Crew. GEiX is spelled GEiX Crew. Join us there every Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We didn't have a show this past week, but we will definitely be having a show this week. It's probably going to be one of our longer shows because there's going to be a lot of stuff to cover like this. But yeah, there's some back and forth going on in regards to whether a couple of slides are real or not. Holy cow. And I'm seeing some stuff on the leaks. Holy crap. Yeah, I don't want to show this to you guys. Yeah, I'm seeing some more leak stuff right now, and it looks promising for the Wolverine series. It does look promising. But yeah, it's a shame. Here's some of the problem. Wow, there's a lot of stuff out here for this damn game. Here's the problem with, first I'm going to go over the bad. Well, let's tell the story first. Let's do this. Insomniac was the victim of ransomware, where they were hacked by a group, and the group said, look, we got all your stuff and we are going to put it out there on the ethos and the internet unless you guys give us 50 bitcoins, or something like that, which I think is $2 million. Of course, Sony didn't comply, so they fulfilled their promise and today leaked everything. Well, they said they leaked 90% of everything that they had, and 10% they sold, or 98 they leaked, and 2% they sold, something like that. And this is now causing an ish storm in the gaming media. People are debating whether or not Sony is, you know, how negatively this will impact Sony and future Insomniac titles, how will disrupt future business for them. And fans, there are some positive things that some fans are drawing from this. Like, I'm looking at a couple of screenshots that just popped up on my Twitter feed right now. And I'm like, holy cow. So here's what I would like to do. First, let me cover the bad in these leaks. Then we're going to talk about the good, but then we're going to talk about the fugly, or the effing fugly. All right. So to go over the bad, or let me go over the, let me take this. Jesus. Now my panel don't want to work. Here we go. All right, let's go to the web. Okay. So this is the tweet that I was talking about, where it looks like it appears that someone may have copied the they may have copied the some verbiage onto like some slides for the Insomniac leak, and they're saying that this just isn't right, that these were added in after the fact, and that's Microsoft, you know, industry issues that could potentially be there for Microsoft, because of the Microsoft APK deal, which I don't understand why this would be on an Insomniac slide. And you can see the Insomniac logo in the lower right-hand corner. I don't see why this isn't an Insomniac slide. Because you don't see any relevant data that connects to Insomniac. Like, why is this part of an Insomniac presentation that doesn't tie into Insomniac? I mean, we in the business world see sheets like this all the time where they're like, hey, look, we got to do a risk analysis. So, I mean, something like this existing isn't out of the realm of possibility, but it only exists at a very high level. And where it does exist, if it's being talked about in a certain business line, it has to tie in specifically to this business line. Like, nothing here ties into what Insomniac's doing, which leads me to believe that maybe someone superimposed this verbiage, which some of it is misspelled. Like you see post ACQ. They're trying to make it seem like that post acquisition was abbreviated. And then it has this red mark on there. Like, that is extremely unprofessional. I don't know of any business slide that would exist, as minute as that looks. I don't know of any business slide that would exist that would have this on there. Like, if I were to come to my boss and have something like this on there and I'm presenting it and there's other like big wigs and other people there, I would get in trouble. I would get chewed out. This just looks unprofessional. Like, why not put a period here or type out acquisition? And then, like, one of the biggest things that I see is the Insomniac logo here. Like, what does this got to do? This looks more like like a high level Sony type of slide, because it doesn't tie into Insomniac at all. So I don't believe that this is real at the moment. There are other people that are with me. There are some loose claims that this person that I took this from says that they checked the document and it wasn't there, that the raw dump and this wasn't there. Then somebody else claims that they've checked the raw dump, or they checked the link and it was there for them. So I'm trying to figure out if this thing, yep. Hold on, it says take it back. Women's sides. Let's see here. I don't know if this is the raw dump. Let me see here. Let me take a look at something here. I'm just looking at one last thing. You can look. You can. It's not an image. Some people. Okay. Hold on. Let me see something here. I'm reading one. I'm sorry. I'm just reading. Nope. The documents in the PowerPoint slides. Hold on. Let me look at something. It says, nope, not in the document. Let me see here. Okay, let me do this. I'm going to take this one person's reply, and I'm looking at it. All right, so let me do this. Replies. If they're directly from the website, I'd have it, but I don't. Give me a link to this file's load. Okay, so this one person has the actual file from the ransomware activity, and they're claiming that they've searched. This Technor person said they searched through the ransomware file, and it's not there. So they're trying to run with this, it looks like, and it's not going anywhere. Yep. Okay, so and this person claims that they've been hit with DCMA on all the other stuff that they've posted except these slides. So they haven't been hit with on the slides, so the slides must not be real. Says, all right, person who screen captured. All right, so we'll see. I don't know, but with that said, this is bad because it just leads to a perception that either one or two things are happening. Like the risk analysis being done on its own isn't bad, but why does Insomniac have this particular slide? And why is it on Insomniac print? Like, to me, this is like extremely confidential stuff that should be super guarded and super protected. Like, I remember when I would do testimony and depositions for certain cases, and all relevant documents that I had for that case, like once I posted them as confidential, like they were zapped from my hard drive. They were zapped from my hard drive, and HR and legal held them. So why is this just like sitting on an Insomniac drive? This is like a super high level sharing of information if this is true. Two, the presentation of it is sloppy. Even in that one little that just looks professionally bad. Take it as someone that does so that it's sloppily done, it's sloppily guarded, and even if it is fake, you can't respond to this because you responding to this validates all the other information. So Sony is in a, they're in a no-win situation when it comes to this, whether it's fake or it's real. So that's bad. What's also bad is that the developers, I think that's the worst part of this all, is that the developers, they really work hard in trying to surprise their gamers and pull up that element of surprise to shock gamers and get them excited about their product before they're about to release and launch. The problem now is that, and I use this as an example. Me and my wife went to one of her co-workers' surprise birthday party. It was very elaborate. I love the way that her son did it. He used this app that texted us and kept in the instruction was nobody was allowed to talk about this. This was all to be done via text. So if you had any questions, you send it to this app, and this app would notify him. and it kind of like, I guess, worked as like Snapchat or whatever, to where it would delete messages after it was a very elaborate system. And what it also did is it helped us, because my wife, she's always mixing up times. We were supposed to be at the party at noon, but she kept telling me 1 p.m. And this app sent me a message at 10 and said a couple of more hours until the party, because I'm the one that set us up on the app, and I'm glad I did it opposed to my wife, because she's technically challenged. So I'm like, sweetheart, we're sitting there lollygagging. This party is in a couple of hours. We didn't even get our gift yet. Like, we gotta get with the program. And it was a surprise party too. So I didn't want us to be an hour late. And I didn't know if they wanted us to be there at 12 because they were bringing her in at 1. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, sweetheart, I don't want to be walking in this same place with your friend. She's walking in too, and we ruin the surprise. You know what I'm saying? Because she's like, well, what are you doing here? And that tells it all. So I said, come on, we gotta hurry up, we gotta get out. And we barely made it by the skin of our teeth at 12 p.m. You know, when she finally came, she was surprised. Like, she was so ecstatic, eyes swell, like, and she just kept saying how wonderful the surprise was. Now, granted, the party was great. Great food, great interaction, great atmosphere. We had a good time. And it was going to be a great scene anyway. But what made the experience fantastic is that element of surprise. The fact that her son, and along with her children, her husband, were able to surprise her, get all these people there secretly. Nobody from her job was leaked anything. All that went over well. She thought she was just going to brunch. She thought she was going to a birthday brunch. That is fantastic. And I kind of, like, I don't know. I'm impartial. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit further. I'm impartial to Sony's approach to how they're handling this, right? How they're handling their games. But I will say this. It's their games to handle the way that they want to. And if they want to be close to the vest about it, not really tell you until like maybe 6 months within launch or whatever, that's fine. I was talking to Cold Blood earlier. It would have been a lot more effective had this conversation happen the way they wanted it to. It would have caused a lot more excitement. So that's bad for the devs, because they really, like, it would be like if I or my wife would have walked in while she was coming in because we got the times wrong. I mean, that would have soured the mood for the party. Like, damn, they messed up her surprise. And I would have really felt bad, because I'd have been like, damn, we messed that up for them. So even though I'm not guilty of this, I feel for Insomniac for the ruin of their surprise. The ramp up, or the telling of however they were going to tell it. Because there are some games that are slotted. We're going to get into that in a little bit, and that's going to be the spoiler part when I talk about those games. But yeah, it's a shame. All right. Now, with that said, that was the bad. I am going to talk about what I perceive as the good. All right. Here's what I perceive as the good. There is a roadmap of games coming. And I'm going to show you guys that roadmap now. So let me put this up here. Spoiler alert. We are about to show the roadmap of games coming. Okay, so this story comes to us courtesy of InsiderGaming.com, and they say timeline of future Insomniac game releases leaked. This is as part of the major Insomniac leak that took place late Monday night, early Tuesday. The full timeline of Insomniac game releases has also been leaked. In a slide that's allegedly dated July 23rd, the studio has at least 5 games planned for release between fiscal year 2025 and 2030. So it says in other upcoming Insomniac games, here they go right here. The other 4 games mentioned have yet to be publicly announced. According to the leak, they include a Venom game scheduled for fiscal year 2025, Spider-Man 3 in 2028, a new Ratchet and Clank in 2029, and an X-Men game in fiscal year 2030. Also, what's part of this leak is a document that says that Insomniac has exclusive rights to the X-Men property as far as video games are concerned until 2035. So can nobody else use X-Men, or list X-Men in any of their properties for Marvel? Only Insomniac can. And I guess they would have to get approval from not only Marvel, but Insomniac and Sony in order to do so. If I read that document right, I don't have that document handy. Why is this good? Let me take that off the screen, because now that we spoiled the games, let me take it off the screen. Why is this good? This is good because unlike those situations where people only want to hear about the games maybe 6 months out, I'm not one of those people. I am a person that likes a roadmap on the games that are coming. I like to know what is coming. I like to know, I like to know what's happening. I'm one of those gamers that used to buy the GMR magazines. I still have that copy, as a matter of fact. When the original Borderlands was talked about, and I remember reading that article on the bus to work and being enamored and being excited for that game. And Borderlands has become one of my staple franchises in the last few generations. Like it's like up there in my top 10 franchises of games. Borderlands is. I loved it. My son loved it. I've played Borderlands on everything. Borderlands is probably my most played game ever. Way more so than Cold Blood is listening. He's probably saying, "What about Division 2?" No, I would say that I've played Borderlands probably 100 more times. I probably have like thousands of hours of Borderlands. I've played Borderlands at least 4 or 5 playthroughs with my brother on the 360. Like whenever he would come up and visit me, if there was a game if there were no games out, because what I would do is I had multiple Xbox 360s just to simulate how it was when me and him was living together, because me and him had multiple 360s, and what we would do is we would play a lot of separate screen co-op games like Rainbow Six Vegas and stuff, and other games like that, and Gears of War. We would play a lot and we didn't do split screen. We did separate screen co-op. We did that a lot. So because we did that a lot, we had our own separate Xboxes, and to simulate that, whenever my brother would come up, I would have my Xbox in my front room. At the time I was living in like a 1-level apartment because it was just me. You know what I'm saying? And I'd had the 360 in my living room, and then my spare room that was in the back, I would have another 360 out there for my brother, and we would play games like Mercenaries 2 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? What else was out there? Too Human. Me and him were playing a whole bunch of 360 games separately, right? And I remember when he would come up and there were no games that we wanted to play like that, me and him would just whip out Borderlands and play that over. So I have like 5 playthroughs of Borderlands on the Xbox 360. I've played Borderlands on Ouya. I've played it on PC, not Ouya. Damn it. What was that? On Live. I've played it on Live. I've played it on PC. I've played it on even the PlayStation 3. I've played it. Everywhere Borderlands 1 was at, I've played the game, and I've played it over and over and over again. I have to have like close to 2,000 hours in that game, easily. With that said, I like knowing that a roadmap is out there. I like knowing what's coming. I remember when Massive first introduced the Division, and they just showed you a little bit of gameplay. Now, did the gameplay was it downgraded by the time the game came out? Okay, it was fine, but the core concepts and the core atmospherics of it were still there. So even if you jazz it up a little bit, and then by the time, because of the limitations of the hardware, it may not be exactly that, but at least you can give us some core concept of the game. That would be great. That's still great to have. Because look, we see downgrades all the time. If the game concept is still great, the game concept is still great. So what am I saying? I'm saying that knowing in advance what's coming is very helpful. And I really think, and I'm looking on the internet, and I'm looking at those people that saw those games, which I'm not going to mention again because we're outside of the spoiler zone, but saw those games that were leaked from Insomniac, and they're like, yo, that's dope. That roadmap alone, okay, so if you're watching the battle between the competition between Xbox and PlayStation when it comes to exclusive content, I can tell you, rest assured, that the general gamer is going to be more excited about the PlayStation Insomniac lineup. They're going to be more excited about that than they are the entire catalog of potential Xbox exclusive lineup. And that would include Elder Scrolls 6 if that remains exclusive. I think Bethesda has lost so much goodwill with Starfield that it's going to be another game that still does well at launch, but it's going to lose so much muster opposed to like a Skyrim. It doesn't look like that BSG has any more innovative approaches to their games to offer. I think before the Xbox purchase, they were just running into a brick wall creatively. I don't want to say run into a brick wall. They were probably just in a writer's block or a writer's cramp creatively. Like a lot of their stuff that they were putting out there just was missing. Wolfenstein Youngblood, even though I enjoyed it, but it just didn't reach the masses. It didn't appeal to the masses. Fallout 76, you know what I mean? Game after game after game after game just did not appeal to the masses. What else did we have here? Redfall. And now Starfield. The only game that appealed to the masses is something of a scope that they generally don't do, that they're not even known for, and that's like a AA type of game, which was Hi-Fi Rush. when you think Bethesda game, you don't think AA at all. It's Wolfenstein, it's Rage 2, it's or Rage, Evil Within, Skyrim, Fallout, you know what I mean? It's those games. Elder Scrolls, Fallout, to be precise. It's not these games that that are AA games that barely 3 million people have played, but they haven't, but only 5% or something, or 50% got past the first boss. You understand what I'm saying? So because of that, this lineup of Marvel content has the potential to have more buzz than Xbox's entire exclusive lineup. That's another plus. Now that we know that these games are coming, like everybody that I see on Twitter, they're like, damn, the leaks suck. It would have been, it would have been nice to get a surprise, but damn, I'm excited. Now I'm invigorated. I'm excited to know that Sony to confirm that Sony is working on stuff. I mean, I kind of I was leaning towards them, just keeping stuff close to the vest, but I wasn't sure enough. I was still a little antsy about that. That's the sentiment that you're seeing all over the internet. And I think Xbox gamers kind of threw a boomerang and it came back and it hit them in the face, because they've been telling this story that PlayStation has not been working on anything. PlayStation doesn't have a roadmap. And this one studio alone is dropping content that is going to be more acclaim worthy or excitement gathering than their entire exclusive lineup. What do they have? They got Everwilds. They got State of Decay 3. They got Hellblade. They got Fable. What else they got? They got this Clockwork Enterprise that's a ripoff of BioShock. They have Indiana Jones. We don't know about Blade yet. I'm not going to throw that out there. So even though they have more coming in volume from multiple studios that are likely going to remain exclusive, despite what's going on with other stuff, that list from Insomniac is going to outperform all that stuff that we know of now that's going to be exclusive. It just is. It just is. What's going to touch that lineup? Hellblade. Hellblade looks impressive visually, but Hellblade. Indiana Jones. I mean, the biggest potential is Elder Scrolls 6. But again, if Starfield doesn't make a turnaround, or who knows what's going to happen with Bethesda between now and when Elder Scrolls 6 is supposed to come out, they're talking about 2026, 2027. Who knows what's going to happen? So that's the good. The good is that it reinvigorated the fan base. They're excited. They hate to see these leaks happen and they suck, but now they're excited. All right, here goes the effing ugly, the fugly. Sony has a serious problem on their hands. What am I talking about? I will just show you what I'm talking about. Okay, my screen doesn't want to work again. Okay, now it's working. Okay. This is the second or third, maybe, ransomware attack in the last 3 months or 4 months. Like, this all started in September. No, I'm sorry. It all started in September. This is a report from October, though, that talks about, it says Sony confirms data stolen in 2 recent hacker. Yeah, so this is the third one. There was an attack in September. There was another attack in October. And now there's this third attack right now. This is bad. This is the bad part, not this part right here where, oops. Hold on, let me do something real quick. I want to make sure that I don't accidentally show you guys something that you don't want to see. Okay, this is the bad part. The potentially bad part is this right here. I mean, it's not this. Like, if they did a risk data analysis of the PlayStation concerns, you know, as far as what's going on with, you know, with Game Pass and PlayStation's, you know what I'm saying? Then fine. You know what I mean? This wouldn't shock me if a risk analysis was done. This doesn't mean that they're like, it's over. They're assessing the risk of their competition, and that drives them to be more competitive. It happens all the time in business. All the time in business. It's supposed to look like dystopian like this because it's supposed to drive you to come up with competitive products and services to thwart this possibility. These are just possibilities that they're talking about. But it's supposed to drive and inspire people. That's what a risk analysis is. And I get that 99% of you guys in the business world don't understand. I mean, 99% of y'all in the gaming world don't understand how business works. But this is how it works. A risk analysis of this scope is plausible. Now, is this an actual real risk analysis? I don't know. I got my doubts. But this isn't shocking. This isn't bad if this is real. This is bad. This is horrible. Why is this bad from a business standpoint? Because Sony, PlayStation is Sony's number one business. I believe, right? I think it's their number one business. Or it's a business that's big enough to, if PlayStation collapses or they're not as dominant as they are, it's going to create a dire situation for Sony. Like, as far as Sony's overall existence. Case in point, when I think during the PlayStation 3, Sony lost like $4 billion or something like that, something in that realm, and it almost caused them to shut everything down. And they rebounded by the skin of their teeth, and the rest is history. And that's why they keep their necks on Microsoft so much. And that's why I said a risk analysis that looks like that would not necessarily be out of the reality, because gaming is their lifeblood. So what am I trying to say? If gaming is their lifeblood, and these type of deals with Marvel and these partnerships are vital to that dominance, because exclusive content is vital to PlayStation's dominance. If they can't keep the trust of these big ticket partnerships because stuff is getting leaked out and they don't seem to have a stable security answer to this. Like, this is the third cyber attack in 4 months that was successful. This is not the third attempt overall. This is the third attempt that was successful. We have no idea how many attempts there were, but 3 ransomware attacks in 4 months were successful. How is Marvel supposed to feel comfortable with all that? How is Marvel supposed to feel comfortable with all that? Now, is this going to have immediate ramifications? I don't think so. I think the games that were slotted that we talked about in the spoiler section still get slotted to release. But if there's plans for others, I don't know. And I'm going to drop a tinfoil hat theory here to bring this all home. Cold Blood urged me not to do this. He said, bro, you're going to take an L. I'll take the L. I believe that the reason why Xbox is being so coy on detailing if Blade is exclusive or not is because, and again, I don't have any evidence of this. This is just me connecting dots. And I'll talk about the dots further in another program. But I truly believe that Xbox is being coy about that because the vital part of this relationship was not so Xbox could get Blade exclusively. I think the vitality of this relationship and the biggest takeaway is that this deal was done in part to keep Blade from being exclusive to PlayStation. What am I talking about? A couple of years ago, well, there was a tweet that was being sent around after the Blade reveal at the Game Awards with the homie Porter Rock. I wish I still had that up, where they were trying to like dig and take shots at Porter Rock, and they were like, because Porter Rock put out a tweet that said, if PlayStation doesn't get Blade, then I'm going to get my Xbox or something he said. Like, he was pretty, to paraphrase, he was saying, look, because Insomniac has been killing it so much with other games, they're going to get Blade. Like, come on. If they go to Xbox instead of PlayStation for Blade, come on, I'm selling my, all my stock in PlayStation. It's pretty much what he was like joking around and saying, right? And the reason why Porter Rock made that comment is because around that time that he made that tweet, there were rumors being dropped that a Blade game was coming. And that Xbox tried to bid for the game, but they lost to PlayStation. That was the rumor. Now, if that rumor is true, to a degree that they didn't necessarily lose well, if that rumor is true, right? And let's just say this is happening around the time that Bethesda is getting real cozy with PlayStation. They dropped Ghostwire Tokyo exclusive to PlayStation. They dropped Deathloop exclusive to PlayStation. There was rumors that they were, well, it's not rumors. It was talked about in the court documents. Starfield might have had some exclusive connection to PlayStation. If Bethesda's getting that cozy with PlayStation, then who's to say that? And they were building a relationship, like Arcane Leon that made Deathloop. They talk about so much about how their relationship with PlayStation showed them so much, and hence Deathloop is their best acclaimed game to date. It was winning Game of the Year categories. It's their highest rated Metacritic game. It's my favorite game from them. I don't like none of their other stuff. I love Deathloop. I think Deathloop is dope. I love Deathloop, right? That being said, Bethesda and PlayStation was getting mighty cozy. Now, if you saw the spoiler section of this broadcast, you would have seen the slate of games that Insomniac is working on for Marvel. That slate is full. Who's to say that PlayStation wasn't then, because of their cozy relationship that they were developing with Arcane Leon? Who's to say that Arcane Leon wasn't going to act like their Insomniac of old, and they were going to entrust them in working on Blade because they did such a great job with Deathloop? Who's to say that Arcane Leon wasn't going to strike this deal with Marvel? They then were going to have it released on PlayStation, and then PlayStation was striking a deal with them and Marvel to keep this exclusive. Who's to say that wasn't happening? Because if my memory serves me correct, I think there was something in the FTC court documents that said that Starfield and another game, Bethesda game, was, you know, that Microsoft had feared that another Bethesda game wasn't coming. That game could have been Blade. And I don't have any proof. I just have an itch, a feeling. I am leaning towards that being the possibility. Now, what does that got to do with any of this? Well, if Arcane Leon, now I know we've seen the concept art and people were like, oh, this looks ugly or whatever, or it looks like a two-way. I wouldn't get caught up in concept art. I would not get caught up in concept art. If you look at the concept art book for Deathloop, it has some of the same concept looking art for Deathloop. And we know how Deathloop turned out looking. Deathloop looks beautiful on PlayStation 5. Looks great on PC too, but it looks fantastic on PlayStation. I don't know what the magic is that they got with PlayStation, but it looks fantastic on PlayStation 5. Now, that being said, if Arcane Leon knocks it out of the park with Blade, and there are no leaks, say this game comes in 2027 and there are no leaks on Blade, Marvel could then be looking at Xbox and Arcane Leon, and they could be saying, you know what? We might give more stuff to y'all. We might give more stuff to y'all. Let me see if I can show y'all something that's not. Okay. Let me see if I have this chart. Okay, I do want to show this to y'all. This really isn't a spoiler. Oh yeah, it is a spoiler. Okay. So we got another spoiler happening. Spoiler alert. Let me put it back up here. I just want to show this to you guys real quick. Spoiler alert, because this does show a game that's coming that you weren't aware of. So let's do this, and I'm going to open up the web right now. Okay. So this is apparently from the leak as well. And the leak shows that for Insomniac, Miles Morales sold 10.2 million units and gave Sony a profit of 104 million. Spider-Man 1 Remaster sold 4 million and gave Sony a profit of 11 million, right? Ratchet and Clank did 2.2 million and Sony lost 8 million on that because it cost them 81 million to make it and they lost 8 million on that. But Sony has told you years ago via Yoshida that only 4 out of their 10 exclusives make a profit, and only 2 out of that 4 justify the making of the other 8. So them taking a hit on Ratchet and Clank isn't surprising. And them, possibly making another one. Because I can't show you that Ratchet and Clank is slotted. We're talking. This is the spoiler. Alert. There is going to be a Ratchet and Clank releasing in 2029, according to the leaks. But then we go back to Spider-Man 2, which already sold 10 million. And it's earned 75 million. Spider-Man 3 is projected to make 14.5 million sales. And that's expected to bring in 170 million. And then Wolverine, when that drops, is expected to make 10 million sales. And now is expected to make Sony 85 million. Okay. All right, so now that we're out of the spoiler free, I wanted to show you that to say all of the Marvel content that Insomniac has made money. There was also another slide that showed you, or there was somewhere where it was rumored that Insomniac only made $560 of net profit from Sunset Overdrive. So their IP that they make outside of the Marvel universe ain't doing it. It may get some acclaim, may have some cult following, but their IP outside of the Marvel content over the last few generations ain't doing it, son. This Marvel IP is valuable to them, and it's killing it for Sony. And because of that, they have now become the de facto Marvel developer, which is fine for Sony. But for the studio themselves, they can't afford to lose that contract. They cannot afford to lose that contract. If they lose that contract, that's going to be bad for them. Oh, hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. So yeah, they can't afford to lose that Marvel contract. And when you have business like this being exposed so easily, again, this is the third successful ransomware attack in 4 months. Here's the problem in a nutshell. Nobody wants to know about Xbox games. And this is not me trying to be a smartass. This is me evaluating the reality of the situation. Like, nobody's like, oh, what's going on with Blade? I mean, not Blade. No, what's going on with Fable? When is Everwild? It's like nobody's even talking about these games. Clockwork, and the only people that are talking about these games in a vacuum are Xbox fans. Like, nobody else is talking about these games. The only game that is given kudos to is Hellblade, and then now Marvel, but we know Marvel just started production, so nobody's really talking, or started development. So, you know, they're not expecting that anytime soon. But there are these questions about Wolverine. There are these questions about PlayStation games. PlayStation isn't saying anything. So here you got a dynamic where nobody cares about Xbox games, and Xbox is always talking about the games that nobody's caring about. So the incentivization, the incentivizing rather, of releasing and leaking their stuff, it's not there. Then it's Xbox. Nobody cares about it. This is probably a non-US domestic entity that did this. This is probably an entity outside of the US that did this, because if it was in the US, trust me, they would have been zapped a long time ago. So this is somebody outside of the US that did this, okay? So Xbox really holds no weight over there internationally outside of the US. So you have the fact that nobody wants to really care about what your competition is doing all like that. And you are at the top of the hill. You are the king of the hill. People are interested in what you got. You're not saying anything. So therefore, these hackers are incentivized in running these ransomware attacks, because look at today. Look at what happened today. Can I be honest with you? I'm going to say something to you, and you're going to shrug your shoulders, and you're going to say you don't care. But just for the sake of saying it, I want people to know that I've seen it. But what I've seen, you're going to shrug your shoulders and say, so what? I've seen Fable concept art 4 years ago. What is this, 2020? Yeah, I saw Fable concept art 4 years ago. I've seen it a long time ago. I've seen a bunch of Xbox games, alpha or concept stuff. I've seen it. And guess what? Number one, we maintain the trust with the people that revealed that to us. So we didn't leak it for that reason. And number two, it wasn't even worth it because nobody cares. Nobody cares. Like, that concept art was shown to us so long ago. I can go to the people that I saw this with and say, look, can your source can no longer be associated to this, right? No. Here goes some cheese, bro. Let me drop that. And nobody would care. What am I saying? What am I yelling about? There's an Xbox. I don't know if he's a zealot or if he's just a troll trying to play his. I don't know. But I find the guy entertaining. Let me pull him up. I find him entertaining. I find him funny. I was in one of his spaces not too long ago, and he tried to all that talking over you stuff, and you're capping. It's cap, and I gave him some evidence, and it quieted him. You know, it's like I don't have to cap about video games. That's not what I'm here for. This is the person, but I really like their stuff. I find them very entertaining. You know, he's making moves on like the Twitter social media scene, and shout out to him, man. Shout out to Uni Sensei. He is a known Xbox enthusiast, borderline zealot. But no, it's all cool. You know what I mean? And he's actually hosting a live right now. I would love to hear what he's saying in this live. Now, he said some real bonehead stuff here, and that's why I said I don't know if he's a zealot or if he's just trying to troll. He says hackers doing what investigative game journalists should be doing crazy. No, investigative game journalists should not be hacking into corporate software and yanking. No, they should not be doing crimes. Like if somebody leaks something to you, that's different. Like it's not a crime for me to get that leaked footage that I'm talking about with Fable Concept and put it out there. It has to be removed once I get DCMA striked, but that's not a crime. Hacking into someone's system and obtaining that stuff is illegal. So Uni, stop it. We know better than this. But I am not mad at him necessarily for this one. He says, unpopular opinion. If Sony PlayStation would be more transparent and direct with its fan base about its future roadmaps, the Insomniac hack probably would have never happened. I won't say that it would have never been attempted, but I do believe they would be less incentivized to do this. You know, to where they're like, oh, we ain't going to get anything from this. If, let's just say, damn it, in a showcase this year, they did say, you know, we got Wolverine coming, and they spiced up some, like, you know, they made a cinematic trailer and said this is in engine. Like they did with Spider-Man. Like the Spider-Man in-engine scenes that they created earlier, they weren't necessarily in game. They showed you gameplay later. But so to make some you know, where he's just, well, let me not leak it, but there's some footage in there that looks pretty damn good to where if they spruce it up in engine and show it in the showcase, people can get excited. Then there's the other games that are coming that they can just announce, like how they announced Wolverine. We got an exclusive partnership with, not exclusive, but we got a comprehensive partnership with mobile that is giving us this. If they would have sent this to the showcase, this leak is neutered. Can you imagine if they showed this in the May showcase? If they would have just showed the Wolverine trailer with some of these snippets that are out there that are already like rendered enough in some gameplay, enhanced them in engine, and just showed like a cinematic trailer of them, and then got on stage and said, Insomniac, our studio, has now struck an extensive deal with Marvel, and these are the Marvel IPs that you can look to from us, and just showed the games and say, you know, these games are time off, You got to give us time, but we are working on them. And man, oh man, oh man, we can't wait to show you more down the road. Oh my God. And you know these dates. Like, I'm not going to show you again because I don't want to spoil it. For those of you, I did spoil it earlier in the show, but you got to go back to those sections when I got the spoiler alert thing up. All right, go check it out. But when you look at those dates, you're getting, starting in 2025, boom, 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 boom. You just get hit with them, right? So from 2025 onward, PlayStation gamers, now you know that these games are coming. Boom, 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 boom. Come on, bruh. That's all you had to do. That neuters this. This is going to be, I'm going to add to Uni's unpopular post. This is why when you mofos said that when y'all were jumping up for joy that E3 was gone and is not needed, that was a knee-jerk reaction to PlayStation not having some of the best E3s, to PlayStation having that poorly presented Last of Us 2 E3 presentation that got ridiculed on Twitter. Okay, that was just poor presentation. As we all know, Last of Us 2 is one of the most celebrated games of all times, despite its controversy. The whole damn series is getting a remake every 5 months. All right? You just got to do better in your presentation. And unfortunately, under Sean Layton, the PlayStation presentation machine just was kind of porous. So they started to step away from it. And I'm not saying that you need an E3 because E3 is complicated, is different. The purpose of E3 was for game makers to meet with retailers and for them to market and advertise and do some networking to say, hey, Walmart or, KB Toys or whatever. This is a great new game that we're coming out with. Wolverine's coming out on such and such date. And here goes some gameplay footage. And for those retail owners to look at that and say, yeah, we want you to ship us 20 million copies of that to sell. That was the purpose of E3. While all this was happening, the ESRA said, look, we can make some more money off of this. Let's start inviting the public to it. And then when they started inviting the public to it, that made E3 a more granular situation to the main gaming show of the, and it was more, it wasn't about just me showing these dope trailers to retailers. It was about, me showing these to gamers as well. And it made sense, but then it added a lot of pressure to people like Sony and PlayStation to have these good E3 presentations. Now, what's happened? In the long run, you don't need E3 anymore for Sony and Walmart to congregate, get together, and talk about distribution of so many copies when they release this game. You don't need E3 anymore because of digital communication, presentations, all the other stuff. I can show you 4K footage via YouTube now. I don't need you to be at a booth, me be on a stage in order for you to see this presentation. So when you eliminate that need, the bartering need of E3, then E3 just becomes a showcase for gamers. And from a business standpoint, if I'm a business owner, the less I gotta give you while maintaining your business, the better. So if you're telling me, hold on, I no longer have to give you a sample of my food in order to pull you in, that just word of mouth is going to be good enough and you're going to come to my restaurant anyway, well, damn it, we're not doing the samples anymore. If y'all going to be that naive, then screw it. We're not doing the samples anymore. Y'all just going to come in, drop $100, no refund. You know what I'm saying? It comes with my restaurant, hence why I needed the samples, because my food is not cheap. But now I don't need this. Y'all are just willing to drop your $100 a plate for my food, and I ain't got to be accountable in advance? Oh, the hell with that. The hell with fanfare. And y'all sat there and cheered for the purging of fanfare. So now that fanfare has been purged, guess what happened? They don't show you anything anymore. But just because they don't show you anything anymore, that doesn't mean that people don't want to see stuff. We just saw Colin Moriarty of Sacred Symbols sit up there and say, "Oh, the PlayStation, I don't know. I don't know PlayStation. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with these guys. I don't know what's going on." What Colin is saying is he's echoing a lot of things that I'm hearing from other developers. I told you, I used to do interviews with developers all the time for stuff that had nothing to do with PlayStation. And as soon as the cameras were off, they were like, "Look, I got to tell you something, but this got to be between me and you. But I got to tell somebody. Have you seen what PlayStation is up to?" I'm like, "PlayStation? What the hell I got to do with anything?" No, you just don't understand. You're a gamer. You're going to appreciate this. Man, PlayStation got some stuff coming, bruh. Like, seriously. Oh, man. What? For real? Yeah, oh, man, I went to this event where they hosted a whole bunch of devs to promote the product and let people know, don't worry about all that stuff you're seeing on Twitter. We got stuff coming. And man, it was amazing. Like, PlayStation is going to rocket this generation, right? And that's why when this May showcase came, people assumed that they was going to tear the roof off. But instead, they were like, again, to use the restaurant example, I ain't got to give you those samples. You just going to come on in anyway. So what ends up happening then? I don't know about this. We used to get samples. We don't know what's going on here. We don't know what y'all putting in. Why ain't y'all giving us samples anymore? We don't know what y'all putting in this food. I don't trust it. They start breaking into your restaurant late at night, grabbing their own samples. I'm not justifying it, but sometimes you got to deal in reality. Is it fair? Like, I got the right to walk down any street or any alleyway I want. There is no law in the U.S. books that says, in any public grounds, as long as it's not restricted, I'm not allowed to walk down there. But if I see a whole bunch of mofos dressed like Michael Jackson's Beat It, they got on leather jackets and they got rhinestone bandanas on, and they're sitting there slapping pipes against their hands and twirling switchblades. Do you think my ass is rocking down that alleyway? No. I have to make adjustments. I got to make adjustments to match the real-time situation. It's not fair, but it's reality. And the reality of the situation is, when it comes to games, people want to know what's coming. PlayStation, people are paying $400 for your console. If they want to play on cloud, they still got to drop the $400 for the console. You just had people paying another $200 for the remote accessory. You know what I'm saying? The drop that, okay, you're not putting games day and date in your subscription model, which is fine. They got to pay that $70 up front. I'm okay with that, but there's a heavy investment involved with that, and for you to maintain that heavy investment from me, but you don't want to give me a sample in return, it's going to cause for scenarios like this to become more lucrative. I'm not saying the scenarios are going to cease, but they're going to become more lucrative, and therefore there's going to be more attempts. 3 ransomware attacks in 4 months. And look at this. All this that you have done as far as keeping stuff close to the vest, has it worked for you? No, because guess what happened? Now that people know this stuff is coming, the general populace is actually happy. Lessons need to be derived from this. I'm not mad at, okay, this part from Uni, hackers doing what investigative that's idiotic. That's bonehead. No, journalists should not be breaking the law, Uni. Stop it. Shut up. Come on, you're smarter than that. But this unpopular opinion may not be so unpopular. You got to start showing gamer stuff. For one, to alleviate some of this. I'm not saying you're going to make it go away, but at least you're going to kill some of the incentivizing of it. Because when nobody knows nothing, the more attacks are going to come. But if people know stuff already, they're going to say, well, you know what? Like even Fable. Yeah. We don't care. Because we've already seen some stuff from Fable, and that stuff that that you're going to hack and release is old anyway. We've already seen some stuff on Fable. What did Fable do? And again, I'm not saying Fable is of some high stature, whatever, but if there was an incentive, what did Fable do? They essentially said what I said. They took some stuff that was already pre-rendered or some gameplay that that's already live, just some small snippets of gameplay. They enhanced it in the engine, and they made a trailer out of it. That's all you got to do. So you've incentivized. So if someone drops the less rendered versions of that, people are going to say, you know what, but we've already seen the enhanced version of that. What you're showing me is old because I've seen better. So why do I care? Right? Why do I care? You're showing me samples of the degraded version of something that I've already seen. So why do I care? And hence why I know a lot of us laughed at the Blade concept art, but it was better. Now that you think about it, it's better coming from them. It's better coming from them on their terms, opposed to them getting hacked. Who's to say that in knowing about this PlayStation hack, that Blade, that Arcane Leon just said, you know what? Let's put some concept art out of here. Let's disincentivize them hacking into anything that we have. Let's put some concept stuff out here. But see, you make it more scandalous and more sultry in putting this out here because PlayStation doesn't want anything being shown. So yes, let's really stick, because they really don't want anything being shown. That again incentivizes the act to where if you're willing to put something out there, it's decentivized. They're like, well, maybe Microsoft won't even care, so why even bother? We're not getting nothing from them. But see, look at how close to the vest all this stuff was when you look at those games. And apparently PlayStation had something planned on how they wanted to reveal it. They really didn't want anybody to know. So you really stuck it to them by putting anything out. Even though what they show, I mean, some of it to me looks good. Some of it is just like concept and alpha stuff. It's not really that big of a deal, but some of it looks good. And the Wolverine gang looks to be progressing along just fine to me. But the fact that you didn't want anything out incentivize these type of acts to where you could have put this stuff out earlier and done it on your own terms and still left sacred your relationship with your third-party partner, which is Marvel. Now, by you holding it so close to the vest, now Marvel's looking at you like, well, damn, what's your security like? And now they got the relationship with RK Leon. And now they're probably looking at RK Leon like, all right, let's see what y'all do. If there are no leaks and y'all knock this out of the park, after what we've already signed with Sony, we might have to look at future changes. And as I showed you earlier, again, you got to go back to the spoiler parts. What I showed you earlier, this Marvel relationship for Insomniac is dire. They're not doing it anymore on their own games or IP. Ratchet and Clank and what's that game? Ratchet and Clank and Sunset Overdrive were their last two pieces of original IP unassociated to Marvel that they did. Ratchet and Clank lost money. Sunset Overdrive made $560 net profit. So again, this Marvel relationship is vital. PlayStation. You just gotta be give and take. I know it's your property. You should do it however you want to. Just like I should be able to walk down that alleyway as public property, but the realities of the world are the realities of the world. And it's a give and take, and you got to be prepared. That's one. So let's not incentivize this type of stuff. It's heinous, it's disgusting, and it's the antithesis of, maybe breaking news journalism. Like it's just sickening, right? With that said, it's a reality. So let's disincentivize that. That's one. Number two, hold on one second. Number two, I think the biggest sticking point for Sony, and this is drawn back to PlayStation 3 days, the days where I was not fond of Sony. Sony, riddle me this. What the F is your problem with security? Why is it that you're always last in security when it comes to the most needed situations? I'm not going to sit here in front like Microsoft don't get these breaches. I'm not going to sit there in front like that. But for you to have 3 successful ransomware attacks in the last 4 months, something is not being taken seriously enough. I can get the second one because it was so close to the first one. But this third one happened in December. Why? You should have a fortress by now around your most classified information. Let me give you an example. A competing company had got a ransomware attack. Oh no, they got attacked. They got hacked several years ago at my company. Wasn't even us. Just off the fear alone of that happening to us, all of the managers had to stay at least 3 additional hours overnight for about 2 weeks to make sure that we classified all of our documents. The classifications was NPPI, non-personal public information, or non-personal public information, HCI, highly classified information, and a whole bunch of other stuff, right? And we had to label it properly. And then there were buckets After we labeled the document within certain fields, you know what I mean, in the Word document, in certain data fields, after we put those labels on it, then we actually had to put them in folders. And what happened was our tech teams automatically locked down those folders and put all this extra security in those folders, right? And then they had to go in and then they checked all of the folders individually and make sure that we put the right type of documents in the right folders. And if there was something in a folder that we needed, from that point on, we had to contact our tech team and they sent it through an encrypted, secure pathway. And this went on for like 2 months until we figured out a more feasible security system that could be enacted to where we didn't have to do it like that. We didn't have to be that, like everything. Once that September ransomware attack happened, everything should have been locked down. And apparently it wasn't. The event that I just told you happened in 2015. It is 2023 and Sony still seems to be behind the curve on security problems. Like when they got hacked in 2011 and people were like, yo, when two-auth authentication became a thing, Sony was still the last to enact it when everybody else did it around them. And they weren't the ones hacked, Sony was. What is going on with Sony security? Why are they so lackadaisical when it comes to this? They better get it together, man. Whoever's at head of their cybersecurity, they better fire them and start all over. Like that person should be out the door. There needs to be an all hands on approach to how they're going to handle their security across the corporation. Because across the corporation, it appears to be bad. The ransomware attack pulled documents from the Japanese offices, along with the ones here from what I read, if what I read was correct. This is the fugly part, the effing ugly part of all this. Sony is like they learn their lessons after the fact. They are not preemptive enough when it comes to security. And Sony, when it comes to gaming, has to be the last company to be like, their security should rival Google's. Their security has to rival a company like Google's. Because they are so sought after as a gaming company. They're going to get a whole bunch of attempts. And 3 successful ransomware attacks in 4 months is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. So with that, I'll close by saying this because I want to do some game streaming. So with that, I'll say this. The bad is, I hate what this does for the developers who wanted to showcase their games on their own terms. The good is that some of the antsy gamers, a lot of them, who were like, what the hell is going on? Like, what can I expect? They now have a roadmap from one studio alone that should tell them that, hey, look, if one studio got all this promising content, can you imagine what everybody else got? So that's the good. The bad, the effing ugly, the fugly part of it is Sony's lackadaisical approach to fanfare, but more importantly, security, is detrimental to the health of their future relationships when it comes to gaming, especially now that Arcane Leon is going to be doing Blade. If Arcane Leon knocks this out of the park and PlayStation continues to have these security breaches that they cannot get a hold of, meanwhile Microsoft doesn't, or Xbox doesn't, that's going to spell problems for Insomniac and Sony, and neither can afford so, especially Insomniac, because Insomniac at this point in time is no longer doing what they need to do financially off their own individual IP. If it's not an IP tied to Marvel, and that's not to say that they're not talented and they shouldn't be doing better, but you know, when it comes to these this exclusive content, people are coming for the big, bold, and the brash, you know, AAA genre-defining photorealist. That's what they're coming for when it comes to Sony. Those are the big blockbuster games that people want, and the only people that are doing it and doing it well is Sony. So they don't want to play. I mean, I'm sorry, they don't want to play Ratchet and Clank. They don't. They want to play Horizon Forbidden West, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us, and a Marvel game. Photorealistic Marvel game. That's what they want from PlayStation. Now, all these other, I'm not saying should they make it, not make Ratchet and Clanks. They should make Ratchet and Clanks. And Insomniac is going to continue to make them. And because PlayStation themselves said they want to keep a variety, they want to keep, you know, trying different things and trying new things. And they do realize that out of the 10 exclusives they put out there, 6 of them are going to fail. But you can't have nothing but failures. You understand what I'm saying? And with that, Insomniac has hit pay dirt with Marvel. They can't thwart that. And the lack of security is a problem. That's the fugly part. So with that said, that is it from your boy. I hope you guys appreciate this. Also, here's what I'm going to do too. In the description of this video, let me see if I can find it. I got a link to our GEiX Discord. I'm going to put this here. Join our let me put this here. Join our GEiX Discord for more great content, giveaways, and exclusive videos. Oh, whoops. That is wrong. Why did it? That is not. That is. Can I move this damn thing? I hate this damn thing. This. Okay. This is wrong. I'm sorry, y'all. I copied the wrong thing. I put it in the chat. Hold on. Let me do this again. For some stinking reason, it did not copy. Copy. Control C. Let's try it now. There we go. Okay. Yo. There's this stupid thing here that I don't like. And I can't pin. Okay, so I put that in there and it won't let me pin stuff. But I'm going to put this in the chat too for those of you that are in the, what's it called? Here we go. We got some comments from Cold Blood. I missed his comments. He said the studio director left from Bethesda. I want to see how Fable and all the other games look like the B Series S. He says, it all depends on how far away launch. We hate being showed stuff that you have to wait 2 to 3 years for. Yes, your ass always walks that alleyway. How can you spin this on Phil? Cap, I want to play Ratchet and Clank. Don't project your opinion on me. Well, let me say for Ratchet and Clank, Cold Blood, the numbers don't lie, bruh. When I say nobody wants to play Ratchet and Clank, I'm talking about the general populace. The general populace don't want to play Ratchet and Clank. Look at the numbers. They lost, what, 10 million on Ratchet and Clank. It is the only Insomniac game also. Even Sunset Overdrive made money. Even Sunset Overdrive made money, Cold Blood. The PlayStation populace, they don't want Ratchet and Clank. I'm not saying PlayStation shouldn't make them. They're going to keep making them. They're going to make variety. They're good games. They're good games and they should continue to be made. But what I'm saying is that the general populace don't want them. They add variety to the platform, but the general populace, they're not flocking to the system for Ratchet and Clank. But that's the fanfare that PlayStation does. As far as still putting out games, regardless if they have a supreme track record financially. So of course they should continue to put them out, but that's not what gamers want. They want the Wolverines and the Spider-Mans from Insomniac. That's what they want. And I'm not saying that's right. I'm just telling you what they do. You got to ask the PlayStation gamers, why aren't they more receptive to Ratchet and Clank? Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I know that it only came out when there was 15 million consoles, but it's still out. And a game like that, it's timeless. I mean, it still looks good. It's not photorealistic, so it's not like, oh my gosh, we have to play this game at the moment it drops or it's going to be old. The graphics are going to look, no, it's not one of those type of games. You said probably 2 million was scalped. So I think people should understand how vital this Marvel relationship is for Insomniac. PlayStation cannot afford to keep messing up like this when it comes to security. So, all right, with that said, I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much. Till next time, have a wonderful game.